Hi, this is Nina from Nina's Hypnotherapy, and welcome. I have invited a gentleman in today who has Asperger's, and I would like you to understand that Nina's Hypnotherapy can help people with all sorts of characters and personalities. Sometimes it is easier than others. The aim is that the person can follow what I do. The aim is that the person is involved and wishes to change some behaviours or feelings. So I'm going to ask you, really, how did you feel that you were struggling before you came to see me?
A lot of the time, when I'm faced with new or stressful situations, I would panic and I wouldn't be able to handle it. And by coming to see you and having the hypnotherapy, it's allowed me to be able to calmly take a step back from the situation, take a deep breath, relax, and deal with whatever the situation is in a calm and relaxed manner. And so I personally, I would say I haven't actually noticed a change myself, but other people have noticed a marked change. I'm a lot calmer, I'm a lot happier, and a lot less stressed. So it's extremely effective, and I'd say that anyone should give it a go, because you've got nothing to lose and potentially a lot to gain.
Thank you. And it's been lovely to work with you. I know it's been really interesting sessions that we've had together, and we've had a few together.
Yeah.
So it's been easier for you to manage life in general. You've had a lot of changes in a short space of time, really, and you're sitting here with me and you are completely calm. Now, that is so different from how I remember you when you first came in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have agreed to even be here.
No.
For this.
No.
If I hadn't had the therapy already.
Yeah.
So that's a marked change.
You've had lots of therapies over the years, is that right?
I have, yes. Quite a few different therapies. I can't even name them all.
Yeah.
But I was always being diagnosed with a borderline this, borderline that. And it turns out that it was Asperger's all along. And they discovered this when I was 14. Didn't bother telling me.
Okay.
So that made life interesting. But it's, I think for a lot of people, not knowing there's something different about them, but not knowing what it is, that can be a real impediment.
Yeah.
And it's caused a lot of struggles and a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And I suppose I've gained a certain level of freedom. Knowing that there is something different about me, but also learning new ways of coping with it.
I mean, I know that you are a very, very intelligent chap.
Yeah.
I know that you are on the Mensa scale up in the very high levels.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're not understood by people, it can be very, very upsetting, frustrating in a way. Now, I know that one thing that I make sure is that when people come in to see me, I'm completely non-judgmental, non-thinking about what I'm going to be doing with you precisely at that session. Until you come in, that's when I decide. I decide when you come in and we talk at that point about what is bothering you at that point. It might be different from the day before, but it's how you feel when you come in, that's what we'll be working on in that session.
Yeah.
And do you agree that you felt received in a sort of just in an open way? Is it just to explain to others that you come in with a character and a personality that is different from anybody else, and I'll just accept you for who you are and work with you for who you are. You don't have to try and be somebody else to be here and work with me at Nina's Hypnotherapy. I just want you to be who you are, to help you get to the person that you want to be.
I feel like I can relax and actually be myself. A lot of the time with people in general, it's difficult because I don't assume that anyone is less intelligent or more intelligent than me. That doesn't come into it. I talk to people like they're on my intellectual level, and often I'm sorely disappointed by the fact that they're not, and they think that I'm trying to intimidate them because people are scared of intelligent people. It's just one of those psychological facts of life. If you meet a bodybuilder, they're less intimidating because you think, well, if I put in enough time and effort, I could have a body like theirs. So yes, they're a little intimidating, but it's less intimidating than meeting somebody who could be a rocket scientist, for example, because your intellect, both fluid and crystalline intellect, they're fairly set. You can't do a great deal to improve it. Yes, you can improve it some with education, but you will have limits. And so that puts you outside the, if you like, the middle third of the bell curve, which is how they assess people's intelligence. And it literally looks like a bell. And you have the people at the bottom third with severe learning difficulties and lack of communication. You have the majority of people in the middle, and you have people like me at the top end who have just as much of a struggle dealing with the middle third as the middle third has with dealing with the bottom third. And of course, people in the middle third seem to be intimidated. And it's a lack of understanding or a lack of comprehension. But I think it's like they think that people like myself, look down on them. And we don't. For the most part, we're struggling to understand how they find the majority of things that they find easy, how they find it easy, when the things that we find easy, they find so difficult. You give me maths problems, and I find them fun. Calculating how fast the Earth is rotating just by having some ballpark figures, that's entertainment for me. But for most people, it's like, oh God,
what is that all about? I know. So let me ask you this, just in a few words. How would you, for people that aren't certain about whether hypnotherapy is a good thing to try out, because you know that some people are concerned about hypnotherapy because they've seen shows and things like they worry about whether am I going to be jumping about like a chicken or but
worried that every time they hear a car horn they're going to bark like a dog or something. Well, for a start, that's stage hypnosis. Secondly, it's been proven that for the majority of people that is peer pressure that encourages them to act like a goat. But also they have the license by saying, well, I'm hypnotized. And unlike stage hypnosis, where you're suddenly, and you're asleep, you're not here. You're fully conscious, you're fully engaged, and the changes are subtle. It's like finding a new way of looking at something, and it's like, well, it was there the whole time. I just didn't notice it. And I'd say I would panic a lot. I'd be uncomfortable. People scare me because they find that most things, they find it so easy to do, and it doesn't come easily for me. So there's always this background fear of, well, are they going to reject me? Are they thinking that I'm trying to make them feel uncomfortable? And as I said, I've found new ways of coping with it. And also it's a case of kind of feel the fear and do it anyway, because you've got nothing to lose except your fears and your troubles. And why wouldn't you want to be happier?
Super.
And you're not going to bark like a dog unless you choose to. And if you choose to, then maybe you should visit a psychiatrist.
Thank you ever so much for coming along and explaining this and reassuring other people. It's lovely to work with you. I feel I've learnt from you along the way as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You had different treatments.
Yeah.
Now, I know you went for many different treatments.
Yeah.
Out of all of the treatments, and I'm not asking you to say something to please me, but which one of those treatments, which type of treatments do you found have been the most valuable?
Yours.
Okay. I didn't know what you were going to answer. So I
yeah,
know.
I've
so
had a lot of different therapies. Amongst them, anger management.
Yeah.
And that involved telling the therapist everything that bugged me, and then them proceeding to, in the later sessions, do all of those things until I didn't get angered by them.
Okay.
And I found that extremely frustrating.
Trying to desensitize you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't do that in this
No.
session. No. So out of all of those different treatments that you've had over the years, and I know you've had treatment since you were how old?
They were trying to diagnose me with a personality disorder from the age of 12.
From the age of 12.
Yeah.
And you said that some people diagnose you with this borderline and this borderline.
Yes.
And you compared yourself to what?
Luxembourg.
With so many different
it
borders.
was you're borderline this, you're borderline that, you're borderline the other. I've had borderline psychotic, borderline schizophrenic, borderline bipolar, manic depression. The terms change, but the overall symptom is they do not know which box to put me in, because the box that they should have put me in is not that common for people to understand. It's hard to understand someone with a genius level IQ, because in school you can't teach somebody who knows what you're trying to teach them and wants to know the next bit which you haven't even got to. And therefore the assumption is that the child is being belligerent, argumentative, disruptive, and they're not, they're just bored because the teacher is not at the speed that the child has already absorbed the information at. And that's a great difficulty for the whole schooling system, but especially for kids with Asperger's. He's saying that it's all on the autistic spectrum disorder that helps people in the middle third feel sorry for them, because people with autism are in the bottom third, so therefore they can look down and say, oh bless, poor thing, hasn't got the cognitive ability to understand what we're talking about because the subtleties of what's going on Neighbours. And the reality is, someone in my position who's in the top third, it's like, okay, this plot line is boring. The reason it's boring is because it's a similar plot line that they had 2 years ago.
Because you remember everything
Because
vividly.
you remember it. You're reliving it. There's a lot of things that I would like to forget. people say, isn't it great having a wonderful memory? No, because there's a lot of things that I'd love to forget, and I'm unable to.
Yeah. So here's a couple of things I wanted to just clarify here, because you had so many possible things happening in your mind, a potential diagnosis out there, I had to make sure that I was able to work with you. So because I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, by talking to you and seeing who you are about and what level I was going to be working with, only at that point could I decide. Now, if you were under a psychologist or a psychotherapist, I wouldn't be working with you. I would be letting them do their work. I will be here. I have come and working with you because that fitted into your plan. I was able to work with you. Together you made an informed decision on working with me. I wouldn't have started working with you unless I felt that I could see we could do something with you. I could see that you had the potential to let go of that enormous frustration, upset, that feeling within you that says, nobody understands me. I feel unappreciated. I feel non-understood. I feel as if I'm just lost, and I'm angry and I'm upset. And I knew that those things I could help you with. And it's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm grateful for having learnt from you along the way as well. And I hope that I'll be able to help many other people in a similar sort of position.
Yes, I think that anyone would benefit.
Okay.
I would say that anyone who has depression, if you like, an emotional dysfunction, you would be of help.
Yeah.
But somebody with a diagnosed mental health problem, it's not easy. You would not be able to help them simply because their brain is hardwired due to whatever circumstance that means that they have that mental health problem. And it's finding the balance between psychological disorder and an emotional trauma.
Correct.
And you can help with emotional trauma.
Correct.
You can't help with psychological disorder.
Correct.
So that's why it was of benefit to me, because most of the time they've been trying to diagnose a psychological disorder when it was an emotional trauma.
Yes. Yes.
And they couldn't get their heads around it, and they also couldn't get their heads around the fact that I am very smart.
Yeah.
It's a struggle because of the fact that I'm not in the same category as most people.
Yeah.
And I'd say the only thing an IQ test proves is that you're good at doing IQ tests. It doesn't help you with the day-to-day life of surviving on this planet. It doesn't help you to make friends and influence people. And it doesn't help you get a job. I was written off at the age of 18 and told that I would never be fit for work, and in fact anyone employing me would be breaching health and safety regulations.
Okay.
Because of a diagnosis of emotionally unstable personality disorder.
And how old are you now?
I'm 48.
Okay. So these next many years are going to be much easier for you, much more pleasant, more fun as well.
They are.
Yeah.
I've already noticed a change.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you.
Thanks.